Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of March 29th. Before we get started, just a couple quick things. Your fishing license expires March 31st. That's this Sunday at midnight. So if you haven't already, go online here. You can just, Google Wisconsin fishing license. The DNR page will come right up here. You can click on this link, although I wish they had like a bigger button you could click. But anyway, get to the Go Wild page. If you already have an account, you can just log in here or create a new one, easy enough. And you can do that, of course, online. But if you're feeling technologically challenged, feel free to come in the shop. We can get you set up here. Speaking of April 1st, I wanted to remind folks that on Lake Mendota, the daily bag panfish limit goes down to 10 fish on the 1st. So that's this Monday. The rest of the chain remains 25 fish. I do get a lot of questions about that. But yeah, April 1st, Lake Mendota panfish bag, it goes down to 10. Also, statewide, walleye and sauger bag limit goes down to 3 fish in most inland waters. So keep that in mind. That's also effective on Monday. So some kind of big changes there. Just wanted to let folks know about it. I did have a guy come in yesterday from the Wisconsin Smallmouth Alliance. He asked me to promote their April 3rd meeting. So that would be Wednesday this coming week. This is a great group of folks. They do great things to promote smallmouth habitat and preservation and best practices when fishing for them. Strongly encourage folks to support them any way you can. They hold their meetings at the Thirsty Goat in Fitchburg once a month, and this one is, like I said, Wednesday. They got Stu Neville coming in from the Hayward Fly Fishing Company. He's going to be talking about fishing for smallmouth up north and stuff like that. So anyway, great speaker, great group. Check them out. As far as shop news goes, I'm trying to click on my thing here, but I can't. Spring Series lineup, I will talk about this every week until we're done with them, but got Noah Humfeld kicking things off on the 18th, Dave Rowe from the DNR, chance to ask him about the rationale behind some of these regulation changes on the 25th, and then Kyle Zimpel coming in to talk about fishing smallmouth on the Wisconsin River. So great lineup of folks. Want to thank those guys for coming in and really look forward to those. I know they are very popular with a lot of folks, so we'll look forward to that. Do got a bunch of stuff out on the shelves for 2024. Got a little end cap here I've talked about before, trying to feature a new product each week. These Gobiuses are awesome. So it's basically a ripoff of a bass, mega bass lure. Can't remember the name of that one, but the bonus of this one is that it's a lot cheaper, and it comes in the Z-Man extra tough plastic that they're famous for. So these are super cool. They have very realistic, great action. I'm going to do a fun video with them maybe later today. But yeah, just wanted to let you know about those. And as far as announcements go on the door here, we got the Capital City chapter of Muskies Inc. Did have their Muskie School this last weekend. I heard it was a great success. A lot of folks showed up. They do have their seminar fundraiser activity on April 6th coming up. They have Jeremy Smith, who's a respected walleye angler, and we'll be talking there at Boulevard Lanes. So check that out. Southern Wisconsin Trout Unlimited Spring Fair fundraiser coming up April 20th. You can get your tickets online at swtu.org. Kyle's got his Drinking with Scissors. Last one is April 16th. Got the poster for the thing. I guess, yeah, pretty much covered everything. So anyway, there's the announcements for the week, and we can get on to the report. So weather-wise, this last week it was cool again with a bunch of wind and temps barely cracking 40s most days. So not the best fishing weather. We did get a good soaking rain on Tuesday, which helped bring the waters level up in the area. The forecast says things should warm up this next week with temperatures hovering around 50 degrees most days. And they're saying 60s by next weekend. So that should be super nice opportunities to get out and do some fishing. Generally around the chain, of course, game fish season remains closed until May 4th. And with the cooler weather this last week, I haven't heard about a lot of folks getting out. Water levels have come up a bit across the chain, like I mentioned, but I think they're still on the low side. I have been hearing about some good panfish action in a few spots around town and beyond. Early season catch and release bass is open, and folks are starting to find some fish. Even though water levels are still low for this time of year, folks on the rivers are finding some great walleye and sauger action. And of course, this is also a great time to get out and do some trout fishing. Of course, that's early season catch and release, but there are great options really close to Madison. So a lot of great opportunities to get out and enjoy the outdoors this time of year, even though game fish season is closed. Up here on the north side at Cherokee, heard about a couple small bluegills and stuff swimming around here at Cherokee Park. Nothing to write home about. The bass anglers that have been giving it a shot up there, which it is a great early season bass spot, mostly complain about too many small pike in there. So that's what I know about Cherokee. Down to the 113 bridge, there has been a good crappie bite down there, although I haven't heard a lot of reports this last week Also reports of big schools of perch swimming through, although a lot of those fish are on the smaller side, lots of small pike. I haven't heard much in the way of catfish action down there yet, but I do hear that the folks that cruise around out here in North Bay are marking them on their horizontal sonars and stuff. Looks like huge schools of catfish out there waiting for the water to just warm up a little bit before they move in. On Lake Mendota, I haven't heard much in the way of reports. I do want to take the opportunity to thank Dave Lundy, who sent me this photo of the Lake Street launch over in Middleton. So that's open, as well as the Marshall Park has a pier in, and I think Spring Harbor does too. So some good launch opportunities over there. The Warner Park launch is not open yet. I don't believe Tenney is either. Warner, the dock got damaged there, so I don't know what the holdup really there is. We definitely aren't getting ice back, but whatever. The city's going to do what they're going to do, right? On Mendota, if you're looking for fish, the best chance to find them is in shallow bays and inlets and stuff like that. So, Mendota County Park, this little channel there can be good. Pheasant Branch, Marshall Park, Spring Harbor, all the usual suspects for this time of year are going to be holding fish. University Bay, Tenney Park warms up, really quick, and this current always is a great spot to draw fish in. So give that a look. I want to remind you that the area below the Tenney Park locks is closed to fishing as a fish refuge this time of year. And I think that opens, I really do think it's like March 14th. I think it's usually been opening day, but I think it's March 14th this year. Over on Monona, where the Yahara dumps in here, great spot for any species of fish. So that's always worth a look. Otherwise, the lake itself, just like Mendota, haven't heard a lot of reports off the lake itself, but the crappie bite down in Monona Bay has been good along the tracks, and in Monona Bay itself, good crappie with some bluegill mixed in. Some folks have been looking for crappie up to the Monona Terrace. I think it's a little early yet. I think they're waiting for that water to warm up a bit, but the folks looking for crappie have been catching some walleye out of season, so I guess there's that. Over to Lake Wingard, great, panfish factory over there. A lot of small fish, but if you got a kid, it's a great place to keep them busy. Great bass in there too, kind of a sleeper bass spot. It was some real giants swimming around in there, and of course with early season bass open and the weeds being down, it's a great opportunity to take advantage of that. Of course, the Wingard Dam here, the area below that is closed as a fish refuge. I was over there with my boys on Wednesday, and the muskies are up. We saw probably 6 to 8 muskies swimming around. Some of them were certainly 45 inches, maybe even 50. Some real giants in there. So it's really cool to see those fish. We did see 2 fish try to jump, and I've heard other reports that that's the case. So that's always kind of a cool spring ritual to go check out if you want to see some really impressive fish up close. Otherwise, areas around Lake Monona that should be holding fish, although I haven't heard any real direct reports. Turville Bay over here, Squaw Bay, or Weechawuk Bay as it's known now. These little channels in here at Pirate Island. I guess I did hear one person say they got some crappies over there. Winnequa Park Lagoon up here is always a great spot for holding early panfish. So some great opportunities there. Otherwise, between Lake Monona and Wabisa, you've got the Lattice Park launch, which is open, and the water has come up there, although it is still very shallow. But these little fingers and inlets and stuff all around here hold fish this time of year. And down into Mud Lake, of course, you got the Judge Hole over here, which is a great spot. But all this shallow stuff in here warms up early, and that holds fish. And I have been hearing about a few fish coming out of there, although not many with the wind and cold lately. On Lake Wabisa, I did hear just this morning that the launch over here to Lake Farm is in, or the pier is at the launch, so easy launching there. I want to thank the county for getting that in earlier than they had planned. Babcock, same thing down there. The launch is in down there. The only reports I've heard of good fish is on the south end of the lake here. Some bluegills coming out of there off Goodland Park in the South Bay. I guess I did hear a report of some crappies between Babcock and the Bible Camp area. I do want to remind you that the area below the Babcock Dam is also a fish refuge as well this time of year, so no fishing down there. Down to Fish Camp County Park. I don't know if the piers are in there, but it sounds like the county's on it. So if they aren't in right now, they will be likely soon. And the Fish Camp area is probably your best bet on Kashgang to find some fish this time of year. Nice shallow area with some current, warms up the fastest. So that's all I know about the chain. Down on the Rock River, haven't heard anything specific out of Indian Ford, but there's usually some pike back up there, and of course some walleye and sauger. Up on Lake Koshkonong, haven't heard any reports out of there. It's been windy and cold, and that's a tough one to fish, especially in wind. Over here, though, to the Rock River from Black Hawk Island up to Fort Atkinson up to Jefferson. Been hearing about some great walleye reports in deeper holes and corners in those areas. And then, of course, the Jefferson Dam. A lot of folks running on the Rock River and all rivers, really, for walleyes this time of year. You're looking at walleye minnows being the bait of choice, mostly on a jig. A lot of folks run them with hair jigs or drop shotting. But also walleye flies, super effective this time of year, especially the Jefferson Dam. Folks really have caught on to that, kind of newer thing in walleye fishing. But up and down the rivers, pumping walleye flies has been super great, and I'll talk about that again in a little bit. Otherwise, Beaver Dam Lake, I heard about the eater catfish bites still going strong over there, and some crappies showing up from some shore anglers getting into some crappies over there. Otherwise, the Wisconsin River has great walleye opportunities if you can find some deeper water. But if it was me, I would focus mostly at the dams. A lot of your fish are backing up at the dams, and previously it had been mostly a smaller, a lot of males stacking up here. But I have started to hear about some females move in. I haven't heard if they've caught any spawned out fish, but in fact, the fish that I have heard about have still had eggs. So I think we're a bit away from them actually dropping eggs. But anyway, dams up and down the river going to be great spots for walleyes. And again, minnows bait of choice on a jig or drop shotting, but also walleye flies in all these spots. On Lake Wisconsin, I haven't heard a lot of reports out of there. The perch bite that was going on over here at the grade sounds like it has kind of died. I don't know if they're done spawning or if the perch themselves have moved out because of the cold, which has happened in a lot of other spots where they kind of push back out to deeper water. But I have heard about good mixed bag of panfish all around Lake Wisconsin and a lot of your shallower bays. And if you can get out of the wind. And those bays are the first to warm up. The walleye bite out there, I've heard, has been a lot of smaller fish is really all I've heard out of the lake itself. Portage all the way up to the Dells. Of course, some great opportunities for walleye and smallmouth in there. But the Dells Dam, a lot of great fishing going on over there. Although it sounds like I've heard a lot about smaller fish, but the females are bound to move up there soon. Castle Rock Dam, Petenwell Dam, all great spots to find some walleye, and I've been hearing about good catches at both those dams with some larger females starting to move in there. Mississippi River, real great bite going on there. Prairie du Chien all the way up to La Crosse. Find yourself a dam, you're going to find fish, walleye, sauger. The perch bite up and down the river has been good. So, but also look at wing dams and stuff like that. It's not and back bays, shallow areas. I've heard of perch coming out of 20 feet of water. I've heard of perch coming out of 3 feet of water over here. So anyway, the bite on the river has been great, and that really is a world-class perch fishery. 13 to 15-inch fish are not uncommon over there. So otherwise, over to Milwaukee, it sounds like the brown trout have moved out of the tributaries for the most part, and the steelhead have moved in. So all the way from Racine down here and up the East Coast, you got the Root River, you got the Menominee, Oak Creek, you got Milwaukee River, you got all these areas up all the way up Port Washington, all the way up up the whole East Coast. Steelhead have moved into the tributaries and are being caught pretty regularly. I've been hearing some good reports, so it might be a good idea to get over there in the next couple of weeks. Those fish should be hanging out. Of course, spawn sacks on the spinning side of things, spawn sacks are working well, and we do have a small selection of spawn sack materials here. Otherwise, spoons and spinners are working well for those fish. On the fly side of things, I would use a meaty streamer, maybe with an egg pattern, or a bit large nymph trailed behind that. Can be super, super good this time of year. But yeah, great opportunities to get over there and check out some of that fishing. Should last another couple weeks here. Otherwise, we have the Green Bay over here has been real good. Got some good walleye in the De Pere area. That's been some great fishing over there. And a lot, of course, some real trophy fish. I haven't heard much out of Lake Winnebago, although the white bass should start to be running pretty soon. Otherwise, that's what I know, I guess, for the warm water fish. Of course, the inland catch and release trout season is open right now, which means all fish caught have to be immediately released and only artificial lures can be used. Most of the rain we got this last week soaked into the soil, so area creeks clouded up a bit, but are clear by now. And with warmer weather in the forecast, it looks like some great opportunities to get out and do some chase some trout this time of year. It's a great time to do it. On the spinning gear side of things, Rapala countdowns or crappie-sized tube jigs, or even a small spoon like a little Clio work slowly through deep pools and tail outs is a pretty safe bet this time of year. Otherwise, for fly anglers, drifting woolly buggers and nymphs is always a safe bet. But this time of year, you're looking at stoneflies, blue-winged olives, and the occasional caddis are what's hatching right now. So you're going to want to have the nymph imitations of those. But you'll also want the dries, because in case you run into hatch, you're looking at some of the best fishing you could run into all year. So swing by the shop. We can get you set up with whatever you need there. I do want to talk briefly. I've been doing this weekly Happy Fly Day feature. Been talking about blue-winged olives the last few weeks. It's funny. We've talked about nymphs, we talked about emergers, and then I was going to talk about the dry flies. I went back and looked at our selection here, and there was actually so many I couldn't really pick one or even a selection of them. So I just stick with the ones we have out here. But this time of year, you're looking at smaller mayflies, darker patterns. As the summer goes on, they start to lighten up. But right now, you're looking at smaller, darker colored mayflies. But basically anything with kind of a smoky, bluish hackle around it, and a greenish body is going to catch a fish this time of year. So blue-winged olives, very popular this time of year, but really those hatches happen on and off really all summer, but especially in the spring. So stop in the shop. We got you set up. We got literally dozens, it seems like, of patterns. So yeah, swing in there. Otherwise, I guess that does it for the report. Do feel free to call the shop at 241-4225 if you have any questions on things we've talked about here, or post your comments and catch us below. I always love to see what's going on out there. And feel free to stop in, check out what we've got on the shelves for spring stuff. And thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much.